Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you this afternoon. Breaking news, Alberto Del Rio, Destiny, released from WWE. I know that he's a guy that's been on that line for a long time. Honestly, if you go back a few years, there's been rumors of Del Rio not being happy in WWE, Del Rio not being, happy with his spot. He was promised that when he was brought in, he was going to be pushed as more of a star. If you go back to the very beginning, when he came back, when he debuted, he was supposed to be this millionaire dude who bought up cars and bought up women, and basically he was going to be like the Mexican $1 Million Man who was going to buy up the championship, and it was his destiny to be the World Heavyweight Champion. He came in, he had a lot of good matches against Rey Mysterio, which led to him, going on winning the Royal Rumble, then not being able to capture the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania against Edge, which would be his last match. But since then, Del Rio went on to win the World Heavyweight Championship when it was the WWE Championship when he cashed in at SummerSlam after CM Punk got messed up by Kevin Nash, which led to him, going into a feud with good old John Cena for a bit. But he would go on, he would win the World Heavyweight Championship, and again, in a surprise, when they tried to push him as a big sort of Mexican hero, the stories were all that they were trying to push him as the next big sort of Mexican superstar to replace Rey Mysterio, and here we are sitting here, all of the guys that they're trying to put in that spot. Sin Cara is, well, I guess they still have Sin Cara, but the guy that they signed as El Mystico down there in Mexico, he's gone. Del Rio's gone. It's just maybe they just have to look and realize they're never ever going to be able to replace Rey Mysterio. Maybe he's just that once in a lifetime kind of guy that you just basically everyone in the world loves. They want to buy his merch, they want to see him wrestle, and even though the guy is injured a lot of the years, when he is healthy, he's one of those guys that you just can't replace. Del Rio, to me, honestly, wanting to leave WWE isn't really a surprise. There was lots of rumors WrestleMania weekend that WrestleMania was going to be his last appearance with the company, and then he was going to be gone. If you remember that, and then all of a sudden he just started showing up on Raw again, and it was like, well, I guess the dirt sheets were wrong on that one, but here it is. I guess the story that's come out is he has unprofessional behavior, and he had an altercation with an employee. Who knows if that's on the business side or if it was one of the wrestlers that was in the back. But I guess now due to budget cuts, him and Ricardo have been erased from the WWE. Where he goes from here, I know that when he left Mexico to come here, he sort of had left wrestling behind, and maybe he'll go on and try to do some acting or something like that. But I would be very surprised if he, like a lot of guys when they leave WWE, you always say, well, he'll be in TNA in 3 months once his 90-day no-compete clause is done. But I honestly would be very, very surprised if Del Rio ends up there. I bet he's just going to leave the business completely, be one of those guys that we honestly never really see again. But for a guy to be the World Heavyweight Champion and the WWE Champion, to be straight up released, that a company out there is going to try and bring him in however they can. He is a name that you can't push. I guess the name Alberto Del Rio is owned by the company, but you've seen many stars, leave WWE, leave their name behind and be able to go wrestle somewhere else, and people still know who they are and still call them that. And some guys get lucky, and you even sort of lose that sort of name, and you start to get to know them by the second name. But lots of guys, no matter how long they wrestle, you're always going to remember them as that WWE name because that's how you first got to know them. But a lot of expectations when he came in. He was sort of looked at as like the John Cena of Mexican wrestling, with his father being a huge Mexican star, but he never really lived up to it. I thought he had some really good matches in WWE. Off the top of my head, I wish I could name them, but nothing really stands out for like a Best of Del Rio compilation that I would be making if I had to sit down and make one right now. But honestly, the one thing I always loved it when he did that jumping kick to the back of the head, that shit always looked real. That shit always looked like it hurt. Whenever he kicked somebody, I always felt it at home. And he was a good wrestler. Honestly, you can say there was times when you looked at him, he felt like he really didn't give a shit. But so many times he was promised things and didn't get them. So we'll have to see where they go from here.